It's time for a review of Reasons, the new TDE signee. Let's go. Reason is an artist that you may have heard on the Black Panther soundtrack. He's released a couple of mixtapes prior to this and had a lot of buzz off his one single. Now decided to introduce himself to the realm of hip hop and rap officially with this project, There You Have It. Now I know what you're probably thinking. Immediately when you hear that TDE has a new signee, you're thinking that this is going to be some new experimental guy. They got Sir, they got Isaiah Rashad, Kendrick, Absol, J-Rock, Schoolboy, SZA. The list is continuing to go on, and so you're thinking Reasons probably has an aesthetic that's so much more different from theirs that he would need to be signed. I don't really think he quite has that, but one thing that separates him from people like a Kendrick, people like a Schoolboy, people like a J-Rock, primarily J-Rock, is his lack of willingness to compromise his voice. He doesn't really seem to try these melodic approaches to make the song more commercially appealing or drive home that commercial success that some of these songs easily could have if he added a bit of a melodic tone to his voice. This lack of melody and this lack of compromise vocally makes him a lot more of a gritty artist. It keeps him more in the realm of a mixtape artist than an album artist, which I could say would be a detriment to his overall commercial success, but I don't think that's where he's trying to go with this anyway. And when I say there's grit, boy is there grit. This dude has the confidence of a Kobe Bryant mixed with the hunger of a pit bull that hasn't been fed in a week. That grit is on the title track, Bottom, Kurupt, Drive Slow, which features this beautiful sample from Shorty Wanna Be a Thug. The hook and track also references Kanye West's Drive Slow. A good portion of this album is Reason making a lot of statements, just leaving them out there in a there you have it kind of fashion. It seems like he's really not trying to overcomplicate the idea or process of being a rapper. It seems that he's simplifying it on this project. It really does live up to the album's name. With less attention and less focus on these other parts of the music, he's able to put himself at the center of attention more frequently, which is why some of these tracks are a little underwhelming when you get into the idea of them, because they don't talk about anything more than just his experience in the street, which if you've been listening to rap for a long time now, you've probably heard already from another rapper, which is why tracks like Thirst and Colored Dream / Killers Part 2 are a bit more of a joy to listen to, because they go into a different perspective, one that I feel Reason hasn't already described or experienced, setting him apart again from the rest of TDE by making his ability of a storyteller stand out that much more. In these two tracks, he details the perspective of a guy pulling up to a house party, having a good time, but not wanting the focus to be on any bullshit. He wants to just go and have a good time, but by the end of the track, we see that he goes and he shoots somebody up. The following track continues from the same perspective, where he's then jailed, convicted, sentenced in prison, and he feels empathy and sorrow and regret for doing what he did to this youth whose life really didn't need to be taken away from him. So much sorrow and regret built up to the point where he ends up hanging himself at the end of the track. I do think that the effect is a little bit much. I think a better kind of description for this would have been to have a chair drop or something, or the police officers come into the cell and they open him up saying, "What are you doing? Stop," and they're just too late. But the just a little bit too much to me. Better Days is really a great track because of the piano in the background. I love the way he's flowing on this track. Again, the technical aspects of himself as a rapper aren't that complicated, but again, that lack of complication makes the album and the listening experience feel a lot more organic and a lot less gimmicky, making you kind of internalize the story that he's telling that much more. On this track specifically, he's talking about the relationship that he had with his cousin and how drug abuse took over the relationship and separated him, and how he tried to basically pray for things to get better with his cousin. Unfortunately, in my opinion, I do think this lack of complication goes against him on tracks where there's supposed to be a hook, there's supposed to be a structured song based around some kind of melody. This simplicity and lack of willingness to go outside of his range or comfort zone, I think, hurts him on tracks like State We In, where when he tries to rap the chorus, there's really nothing great about it. Look at the state we in, look at the state we in. Look at the state we in, look at the state we in, we look at the state we in, look at the state we in, look at the state we. I do think it was pretty funny how he kept the Usher sample on the track Situations, but kept the entire point of the track directed to the idea that this was a problem in his relationship, how he was going through these troubles and these trials, but he was still dealing with somebody on the side. Reason, I don't know how many times I gotta tell you, black men don't cheat, okay? This track is a lie. Delete it from the track list. You're making the rest of us look bad. In all honesty, I don't really think there's anything too much to this Reason album more than there you have it. Like, this is me. this is Reason. While I like the grittiness and the rawness and the hunger I can hear in his voice, I do think a lot of that kind of prevents him from taking these artistic risks that would cause for a more entertaining listening experience as far as the music is concerned. This does still very much so have a California vibe to it, so it's not anything unique in the idea that regionally this sounds like an album outside of that demographic, which is fine. I don't really expect him to make music, you know, regionally referencing areas that he's not from. While I completely and 100% understand the sentiment behind keeping your album a little bit more simplistic and keeping yourself hungry and keeping yourself very gritty and raw, can be endearing for a lot of people to hear, especially when you're telling a story on some of these tracks. I do think for a listening experience when it comes to an album as an introduction to TDE, I don't know how many broad statements it's really making, but this album definitely has me wanting more from Reason, and I think it was a good idea not to go so hard for this album, because I don't know if he has the following that would appreciate an album where he goes into these different artistic endeavors. Maybe on his next project, when people are more familiar with him, he'll start to take more risks. But that's just how I'm feeling on this album. Pretty decent listen. Reason, there you have it. Thank y'all for watching. Let me know what track was your favorite. What did you enjoy the most? What did you hate the most? And let me know how this thing impacted you. There you have it. I'm out. That's gonna be the new intro. Or new outro, I mean. Yeah, there you have it. But thank you for watching. I'll see y'all next time. There you have it. I'm out.